it's getting scary. It's a scary hour. But speaking of the offseason, Jaron, the NBA draft actually is tomorrow. So we have the NBA draft tomorrow, the first round, and then we also have the second round on Thursday. So let's kind of like look into this real quick. Let's kind of look over the draft order again. Mainly, no disrespect, but I mean, in terms for me, when I watch the NBA draft, I think the only really picks that matter is probably those lottery picks. You know what I'm saying? So when let's look into this though. So for the first round, obviously with the number 1 overall pick, we got the Dallas Mavericks. With the second overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs. Then we got the Philadelphia 76ers. We got the Charlotte Hornets at 4, Utah Jazz at 5, the Wizards at 6, the Pelicans at 7, Brooklyn at 8, Toronto at 9, Houston, which we'll get into that later, is reportedly traded Phoenix now. The Phoenix Suns have the 10th overall pick in this year's draft. The Trailblazers got the 11th. The Bulls got the 12th. The Hawks got the 13th, and then the Spurs got the 14th. So that rounds out like the lottery picks this year, Jaron. We got, as you can see, anyone that sticks out to you in those lottery picks at all in terms of like the teams.
I mean, the teams as far as where they're picking from. I mean, definitely those first 3 picks are going to be the most crucial. But considering some of the stuff that's been going on, like with Ace Bailey and some of these other guys, the 6 through 10 picks are going to be important too. Very important, especially with the Rockets having the 10th pick.
And you know what else is actually crazy? And like, there's a couple other, teams, that in the back half of this draft, or at least this first round, rounding out like right there at 15th is our NBA champions right there, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have the 15th pick. So, and also seeing San Antonio, having 2 lottery picks as well, that's going to play pretty key, I think, into what could possibly go down in these next 24 to 48 hours for the NBA landscape for sure. So let's kind of look into this as well. Like I said, there's a lot of talent this year. I feel like for the lottery pick, obviously, the main guy, the generational guy that we're all looking at in Cooper Flag. Obviously consensus number 1 overall pick, barring anything happens. If the Dallas Mavericks are smoke screening us and will actually trade that first pick to get a guy to win right now, as opposed to looking to the future. And also, like you said, you mentioned both the Rutger guards, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. Those guys, I really like watching them over the course of their college career. And then also we got VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. He's a really good guy too, and the sleeper guy too is Derek Queen, that center who's like almost like a guard hybrid out of Maryland. That's something to keep an eye on for sure. And again, I think, what was it? The Spurs, they've been kind of poking around with that number 2 pick. And, maybe, like I said, by the end of today, possibly, because like I said, they have 2 draft lottery picks. They could go in a different route and maybe, get Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still up in the air. There's nothing confirmed yet, but it is looking more and more likely, if tomorrow shows up and we're 20 minutes from the draft, Giannis is probably staying put for sure. Maybe.
Maybe.
What do you think so far? Is like, besides obviously Cooper Flag, is there anyone, like maybe even the international players, like is there anyone that's kind of like stands out to you that you kind of want to see, that excites you a little bit?
Yes. I'm about to drop some ball knowledge on you. Jeremiah Fears, Oklahoma, dog. This man, off that first step, got to the rim so clean. And he could shoot the ball crazy. But my biggest player that I'd be more excited about is Danny Wolf. You know Danny Wolf?
Oh, the
Michigan 7-footer?
The Michigan guy? Yeah.
I ain't never seen no fucking 7-footer move like him, hit step backs, be able to pass the ball, and back you down, play defense. Like, he is the most complete center in the draft to me, personally. And that would be my biggest, like, okay, wherever he goes, depending on where he lands, he could produce right away because he's looking to be a late first round pick.
Is he? Do you think he's a lottery pick, or do you think he will probably
he's probably going to fall into the 20s just because I think he may be a 4th or 5th year senior, and with the NBA, age definitely comes into factor. Same thing with Walter Clayton. Like, Walter Clayton's been around for 4 or 5 years.
So himself. He's probably going to fall out.
He probably might fall to. He could fall to the second round, but he's still a player that I could also see coming in depending on where he goes and producing right away.
And I think when we look at this though, Jaron, in terms of producing right away or developing. Like we're seeing a lot of, obviously, I mean, just in these last like 48 hours, we're seeing a lot of young guys get shipped off because, you know, I don't know if it's just impatience of these organizations, but it seems like really, you know, and we were talking about this earlier. It's like it seems like they're getting the washed guys. You know, they want to get like a lot of teams are in this win now, especially I think in the West. Like in the West, I think they want the superstars. They want someone now. They don't want to really develop their guys, which, you know, looking back at it, obviously, you look at the blueprint the OKC and then Indiana got. They kind of just developed their guys and they got depth and stuff like that. So if we look at teams like that, you know, is this the recipe for success? Like just, you know, maybe shipping off these guys, you know, drafting some of these guys and not really develop them as well. So what do you think?
No, I mean, look at the last 3 champions this year. OKC, other than the Shea trade, but they traded for Shea after his rookie year. Essentially, that ring is homegrown. You know, they made a couple trades. They shipped out Josh Giddey, brought in Alex Caruso. I think that was actually very necessary for the ring that they got. But everybody else that contributed was drafted or brought over in free agency. Isaiah Hartenstein. But same thing with the Celtics. You got their core: Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Those guys were drafted to the Celtics. Now, yes, they brought in Drew Holiday, they brought in Kristaps Porzingis, but these are guys that came at a not too expensive of a price. They paid them a lot, but they didn't come at too expensive of a price. And same thing with Denver. You got Jokic, you got Michael Porter, you got Jamal Murray, all guys who
homegrown guys.
All guys who've been there. I think that's definitely the better formula, but like you say, some teams just don't have the patience for it.
And okay, so for at least for these top 2 teams right here in the Dallas Mavericks and the San Antonio Spurs, first of all, I think the whole state of Texas, they got some players now. That whole state got riches over there. They got a lot of, you know, they got a perennial guy, you know, the 2-time, you know, and we'll get into that, the 2-time final MVP over there. They got Victor Wembanyama over there. They just potentially got Cooper Flag. They got AD, you know, over there. So it's like they got firepower over there. And then so it's like with those 2 teams, those Texas teams, like you know, like I said, it's not a given. Like, again, they already kind of went out and stated that, you know, but, you know, smoke screen, it's a thing. But Cooper Flag could still obviously go to Dallas, maybe, you know, or whatever. But do you think, you know, one of these 2 teams might surprise us and maybe trade, like I said, like maybe the Giannis or something of that nature?
I think considering that Dallas is going to be without Kyrie for
majority, the rest of the season,
the whole year. Taking Cooper Flag and letting him play that year and probably just letting him play alongside AD would probably be the best decision. I think if anyone is going to surprise us, it would probably be the Spurs. Like you said, they got multiple lottery picks. If they wanted to make a run at a ring with Giannis wanting to be on the move, they could easily make that trade without having to give up. They won't. Obviously, they're not giving up De'Aaron Fox, Wemby. And you'd maybe want to keep Stephon Castle. I think those 3 would probably be the ones that are untouchable. Everyone else, you know, you can include those picks plus maybe like Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson, whatever the case may be. Maybe both of them. Fuck, who cares? And I think, I think that would be. I think that would be like they would be a top team in the West at that point, if healthy.
No, and I get what you mean, but like, I mean, once we run down these other trades that just happened, like, the teams are getting a little stingy. They don't want, you know, the Devin Vassell. They don't want these guys. They want to at least to have a really good, solid piece there. And like Stephon Castle would be the guy that would unfortunately have to, you know, take the bait. I guess take the bait in the sense because, you know, at least for a team like for the Bucks, who will be without Dame as well, they're going to be without Dame this upcoming season. They get someone like Stephon Castle, you know, he will play for the rest of play this whole season, help him develop even more. Like, I mean, it'll suck because like I know he was Rookie of the Year, so it's like, you know, just seeing that happen, like it's just difficult to kind of see like these teams trying to, you know, throw in these like, you know, B, C tier like players and some picks. Like, you know, teams don't want that. They want to make sure they have a guy now. You know what I'm saying? Whether the guy is a proven veteran or even like a rising star, in which we'll get into some of these draft picks. So I don't know.
Shit. I mean, I'm looking at it. Look, if a team would want, like, instead of maybe they don't want a certain player because of, injury concerns. They're not the player they want back. I mean, the Spurs could simply go straight picks too. I mean, they own their first round picks this year, and they have Atlanta's first round pick. Next year, they own their first round pick, and they have Atlanta's first round pick. 2027, they have Atlanta's first round pick. And it's unprotected.
So they could
do whatever they want.
Stack up on, yeah, they really could.
They own their first round pick, and they have Boston's first round pick. They could potentially move some of these picks around, including this year, and still have first round picks to go in the next couple years too. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
And no, that's not. And I think, you know what? And like I said, let's kind of look at this. These first 3 picks. How do you think this is gonna go, Jared? Obviously, Cooper's going 1, but who's going 2? Who's going 3? What do you think?
Well,
because who do the Spurs really need? Next with that team, they got De'Aaron Fox, they got Wemby. Who else do they really need? You feel like to get them over, at least get them a little bit more into playoff contention.
I mean, Dylan Harper is like the best pick after Cooper Flag. Dylan Harper's gonna be the best overall pick, but you still, I believe CP3 is still on contract, right? Or does he still have to re-sign? I'm not too sure.
I think he's still on contract, yeah.
And then you've got Stephon Castle. You still have Devin Vassell. There are a lot of guards. So Dylan Harper, it may be hard for him to come in and be that main guy for him, but that would be the obvious pick. As far as the 76ers go, I think they go away from Ace Bailey, though, just considering how difficult he's been throughout the process. He's refusing to work out with teams. And I mean, for the right reason. I mean, the tape shows what he can do, but I mean, some guys go to draft combine, they go to team workouts, and their draft stock plummets. Maybe that it was what he was worried about. So I think they go either Edgecombe or shooter, Trey Johnson or Con Knipple, as far as 76ers go.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, y'all, the NBA draft, it's tomorrow. The first round, what time does it start? Like, what, 4 or 5 or something like that?
5.
So somewhere around that time. I want to know what you guys think down below. Any of your teams, a lottery team, where do you think they go from tomorrow? Let's see, who you most excited for. Just let me know down in the comments below, y'all.